Coming at you live from a couple of stools in the low-class studios. This is a feminist and a comedian walk into a bar. I'm Justin Golak. I'm a comedian, and I'm sipping on. What?
That was cool. I like that.
You got a little bit. You got a little bit of the giggles,
I know.
which I think could be positive. Bringing in some positive, fun energy into the pod.
I have a hot cocoa.
Oh, geez,
I know.
Spoiler
I know.
alert. Jeez.
I
Jiminy
didn't wait
Christmas.
My turn.
You're always, when you are the head of the pod on the even number episodes, you're always just, I would say, demolishing the intro.
What do you mean?
You know, you're always fucking it up, missing plugs, going out of order. I'm always reprimanding you. Now you got to come into my odd number intros.
Maybe this is me rebelling
off
for
the
you,
order.
thinking you need to reprimand me.
Even when I got my cool sipping going, and I didn't even get to do my reveal. You just hop in. I'm drinking cocoa. Oh, I have cocoa.
I have cocoa.
I have cocoa. Okay.
This monster thinks he's so funny with this. Sip it on.
Cocoa. Monster. Intro to the pod monster, Jackie Manti.
Hey.
All right.
Cocoa.
Cocoa? Is it now? Now? When can I say cocoa? Now? Is it now? Cocoa now? Cocoa
Okay,
now.
go ahead.
All right, Coco. So, I am Justin Golak. I'm a comedian. I'm sipping on. Going back to a classic. Got a few left in the fridge. Not trying to get too crazy. Trying to hit some shows later tonight. So I'll be driving around. So don't want to get too hammered, too tipsy.
on your Tecate.
Well, that's why I don't. I'm saying I don't. That's why I chose this one. A Tecate. You spoiled mine now.
Oh, no.
Spoiled mine.
You haven't said it yet?
No, I was leading up. I was doing
more,
a build.
I think more you're too loquacious for an intro. Like, just tell us what you're fucking drinking.
People like it. People like the loquaciousness of the intros. People like my loquaciousness.
You're more like, you're verbose.
This is why you
have a lot of unnecessary
This is why you get
words
reprimanded. That's why you get reprimanded. You just destroy intros. Like I said, you were just destroying your own intros.
Share your shit.
I have to correct your intros all the time. So
you don't have to. You choose to.
And then you come in and trample on my intros. All right, so I'm drinking sipping on a Tecate Light. It's ruined. It's ruined. Pretty good. Anyway, so with me, as always, unfortunately, mandated by the state of Illinois to be around me for the rest of my life.
Yeah, right. If anyone would want to get away, it's me.
Want to get away? What's that, Southwest?
Yeah.
Want to get away?
Our sponsors today, Southwest Airlines.
How tight would that be?
If we could tie it in.
Do any podcasts have sponsors like that?
No, it's like MeUndies.
Right. Even like the biggest podcasts, like millions of listeners, it's like
Male Kimp.
Yeah. It's anyways, that would be interesting. That would probably be bad for podcasts though. That's probably why podcasts are still fun.
Yeah.
They're still like that always reminded me of like, cuz it's still kind of like that, like UFC. When UFC was like medium big, when it was like growing, they would have like saying like you know, you watch like a boxing match, right?
Mm-hmm.
In like the mid 2000s, right? Budweiser would be on like the ring post or in the middle of the ring. Strangely enough, like Tecate now you see a lot, but that's like a big brand, you know, like probably like right behind Corona, biggest like Mexican beer brand, Tecate. I don't know, shit like that, right? And then you'd watch like a UFC fight same time, and like the little like cage posts or like it'd be like Mickey's, like the malt liquor, like Mickey's. I remember was like a big sponsor. And they have all these like weird ass sponsors.
Yeah.
Because they just like couldn't get big sponsors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and now I think like they have Reebok and stuff. It's like a little more mainstream. But I feel like you still see stuff on like a UFC ring.
Are you saying you liked that?
I kind of like it. Like it's still it's just like. It's this balance. Like if you like UFC, like I liked it in the mid 2000s. It's like you want it to have sponsorship because that means it's like we just live in that world. Like you need it's still like a sign of like success in terms of like you're pulling money in. So if you're like, I like this thing, I want it to pull money in, so it keeps going, so I can continue to enjoy it, right? Mm-hmm. But it's still but it's still cool when it's like Mickey's because you're like, okay, well, Mickey's probably isn't gonna have like a. They're probably not gonna have issue. With
yeah, totally.
they're not gonna be like, well, this got a little too violent on this event. UFC 128,
Right.
a little too violent. We're gonna have to pull out. Like they know what they're getting
I
into.
know
They're
it's such
fucking
Mickey's. They're Mickey's.
So that's why, like, as long as podcasts are still regulated by like the MeUndies of the world, you feel like they're pretty safe to kind of explore free thought and free expression.
Mickey's is defining what MeUndies is to free thought and expression.
Like I'm just saying, you probably would you want to listen to a podcast that was sponsored by Southwest? You're probably like, this is probably schlock garbage.
Yeah, and like, did you have to run the content by Southwest? I love when it makes me like the advertiser even more when it's clear that they haven't, and the host sort of like is making fun of them into the intro.
Oh, yeah. And sometimes the copy gets a little crazy, but it's fun. Like, again,
No,
like those are the, well, that's the
genuine.
point is like, if you're just hearing like live reads that are just like live reads, like just like they're just reading fucking copy.
Yeah.
I mean, how hard is it to fast forward through those? Not at all. Any podcast app, it's easy to fast forward through those, just like people are probably doing through this intro. But, but you know what I mean? But like, if you make it funny and like make fun of the copy and stuff like that, but still hitting like the website, like the important info.
Yeah.
Like I'll listen to it. You know what I mean? So it's just funny that I think most companies but some don't, and definitely like a big company wouldn't get it. They're like, he's not hitting the ads. They wouldn't realize like, yeah, but by not, people will actually listen to him.
Right.
If he hits the ads, they'll just fast forward through him, and then you get no traction. So it's like people like those big companies, they just like never get it. They just like never get it. They're so last to the part. And then it's like 5 years later, they'll like submit funny copy like, hey, why don't you trash us in your copy? And it's like, well, it's not natural. Now you want me to as your copy. And so you've just missed it. You missed it, and now you feel bad because you missed it. You want to get on it, and it's too late. So what was I just thinking? I don't fucking remember. Oh, yeah, like Bet DSI and Bet Online. Like literally like online betting sites. I hear sponsors a lot of podcasts I listen to. Which is funny because they're like borderline illegal. So that's what, but I feel like, again,
I appreciate that.
But that's the point is like when I hear a podcast I like sponsored by like Bet Online AG or something, I'm cool, they're making a little scratch, they'll keep the podcast going, I like the content, and then you're like, at the same time, they're being sponsored by like a borderline illegal website, which makes me think like, yeah, they're not going to curb their content to please betonline.ag.
Sure.
So like it feels like the best of both worlds. Seeing like UFC sponsored by Mickey's feels like the best of both worlds. Maybe we'll get sponsored by Mickey's one day.
We are fighty.
Yeah. All right. So with me as always, putting up with my loquacious and verbose thoughts on sponsorship in the podcast and combat sport worlds. Miss Coco Queen herself.
Hey.
Jackie Manti, she's a feminist. What are you sipping on, Jackie?
I'm sipping on the OG of hot cocos.
Swiss Miss?
Swiss Miss. So we have two kinds in our cupboard. We have Swiss Miss from your mom. And
shout out to mom.
Shout out to mom.
Hashtag moms.
A Ghirardelli, like, premium hot chocolate.
And
I was like, which do I want? Yeah, we got that in a gift box, right?
What? We got like a Ghirardelli gift bag.
Oh, from last Christmas.
I would say
your
it was
dad.
from Christmas,
Hashtag
right?
dads.
Hashtag dads.
Yeah.
So you picked mom over dad.
Oh, no. Oh,
Classic.
Don't put it like that.
Racked with guilt.
No, I just wanted something the Ghirardelli premium seemed too fancy. I just wanted those marshmallows.
Yeah,
and like
those chalky little
and like
marshmallows.
pudding, hot pudding, basically. That's what I wanted.
Is it good?
It's so good.
You squirted a little
put some
whipped cream on top too. Out of the can, that's the best stuff. The ready whip.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, bitch. All right. FemComPod.com. That's where you can go for info about the pod, previous episodes, links to subscribe. But you can also just subscribe direct from whatever app you're using, iTunes, Stitcher, anything else that just pulls from RSS feeds. You search us, you find us. Honestly, like the app I use, I think I just typed in feminist comedian in the search bar. It was like the first one. So I think even
That's
just
cool.
using those two words together, there's not a lot of
It was
cross
a good
pollination.
SEO choice.
I guess so. You just got introduced as on a show. You did like a live lit show, and they introduced you as co-host of a feminist and a comedian walking in a bar,
Yeah.
and it got like a little chuckle. I think it's like
I think it does
it's
every
a clever
time.
name. Yeah, it always does.
I
It's
feel
like
like
a clever name.
Like the past couple of readings I've done, yeah, I always include that in the intro, and people are like, oh,
It's a clever name. All right, let's talk about how good we are more. So FemComPod.com, check it. But like I said,
well, I just think it's interesting because I don't drink too, so they're probably like, wait, what? Well, like the reading I just did, I would like in my essay there was like a line about how it was.
But do people get it's like a play on the classic joke setup?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I think that's what they're laughing at. Then.
Totally.
I think they get it.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, it makes it more dynamic. I think I'm just complimenting us.
Yeah, it's good. FemComPod.com. Like I said, I don't know. Like, I like having. It's like everything, right? It's like you need a website, FemComPod.com, but who goes directly to websites anymore? That's kind of like dying. So just go into your app where you get podcasts. Just search us.
Oh man, it is
But
true.
if you
like,
do need a landing page, go there.
I feel like even just, I'm like afraid of websites because I'm like, is this even like a secure link? Is this fake news?
I don't know about that, but I just feel like
just put it on my pod kicker.
People have like a podcast app, so they're not gonna like go to your
Right.
site and like listen in a
Maybe.
browser. You know what I mean? Like listen in a browser with like a little widget player. I don't know. But you can. P.S. You can. You can find every episode there, but you can find every episode on your app. So either way, and if you use like iTunes, Stitcher, or anything like that, go ahead and give us a rating. Give us a review. Those really do help, especially if they're good. I guess they help. They help us if they're bad. If you have a complaint.
Hey,
but,
and if you work at Mickey's.
Yeah, if you work at Mickey's. But we have contact plugs at the end. Mickey's, if you want to reach out, just keep listening.
Yeah.
To the quality
we
content.
represent both your audience, recovering alcoholics.
I'll drink anything on this pod. Like I drink Tecate, but I know that's a little out of our grasp. Pretty much anything that would sponsor us, I'd drink some of it on air and talk about it. It'd be what I sip. If you're non-alcohol, if you're Coca-Colas of the world, you can sponsor. Jackie will sip you on the air too.
I'd rather the Swiss Miss. Swiss Miss, hit me up. Hey, girl.
Anyway, it's probably Swiss Miss, but like Swiss, it's probably not even. There's probably no Swiss Miss. Swiss Miss has to be one of those things that's like owned by Kraft. Like you ever see those little infographics where like just like 5 companies own everything you consume?
Oh yeah, like
food and beverage
Johnson's
wise.
and Johnson.
It's like Johnson & Johnson, Kraft, like Miller Coors, GE. I think is even in.
And the
food
Koch brothers own all of those.
Maybe.
No,
I don't even think they own it.
I was just kidding.
They're just one of those things they just buy the shit you don't know. Like they just own 100 companies that make like textiles or some shit. Anyways, who gives a shit?
They're sneaky little fucks.
Anyways, FemComPod.com. That's good. And of course, for everything else, you know where to go. lo-class.com. Oh, and I guess I'll just plug this real quick because like we'll just plug it pretty hard in the next 2 episodes. Patreon.com/LOClass, no dash. We got bonus episodes there, and we got 2 more coming out for the end of the year, but we got more content coming in 2019. But we got at least 2 more bonus eps coming before the end of the year, and we already got 4 up there. And we got this episode, the next episode, and then we're taking a little break for the holidays into the winter. And we'll be back early next year. It's not going to be a long break, but you'll be without us for a little bit, for a few weeks. But we're going to retool, come back with some cool stuff. You know, we always try to like spruce it up and kind of like relaunch. I feel like at least every year. But
yeah,
it's like
an annual review. Do you know what those are?
No. Sounds like a job thing. I usually do not have those for longer than a year. By the time annual reviews start coming around,
time to go.
I've already been separated from the company by passive aggressive force. But you know what I mean? Like, it might not have. The point is, like, we like to take, I like to take like time and like reevaluate, come back with new stuff, trim some fat, add some flavor. Again, so that's why it's like, I don't know, I don't want to tease that part too hard. Like, hey, we're going to come back, it's going to be totally different. It's just like, we've been doing it for another year. We got another year on the books. This podcast, my personal podcast that Jackie's done solo in the past, but it doesn't have like a ton of episodes, but like it's cool content and just figuring out scheduling and, maybe a little more features on the video side and the audio side and little stuff like that.
We got hashtag goals.
So I guess it's like we're taking a break. but it's for the good. And even though we'll miss you, we'll like the new bonus episodes will be coming out during the break. And if you want to peruse the back catalog of bonus episodes, you can do that during the break. So there's no better time to become a patron, is I guess what I'm saying. So patreon.com/LO class no dash. And for $1, you can get in on those bonus episodes. But there's higher tiers. You know, we've sent out some cool gear and artwork and different. We've had like a lot of people subscribe. I don't think we've had like a solid handful of subscribers, and I don't know if anyone's subscribed at the $1 level. Because we have like a $2 level where you can even just get like some, stickers and patches and stuff. And people usually grab that. But most people go up higher, get some merch, get some original artwork by Jackie if you want to go up that high. So really cool stuff to be gotten. But every level you get the bonus ep. So if you want to do the $1 level, fuck yeah, you're the best. And we'll treat you as such with those bonus eps. So anyways, plug that this episode and the next episode. Just, so while we're on break, if people want to hit those up, they can get that content to fill out those few weeks that we're off the air, but, we'll be back sooner rather than later.
Hey.
And speaking of sooner rather than later, let's get in these topics, right? We've already burned like half an hour. We have to speed through these motherfuckers. Topic 1. Oh, shit. So, rumor mill?
Ooh.
Rumor mill is...
What they been saying.
God closes a door, opens a window, right? Urban Meyer, OSU head coach, announced today he's retiring.
Oh, what?
After the Rose Bowl.
I didn't know that.
Rose Bowl will be his last game as an Ohio State Buckeye. Maybe he's a coach ever. So that's one person, one sage male out of the professional world. Lead men to victory. One out. We need one in. One other great man to lead. Who will come in?
Well,
door closed, now door open. This doesn't mean anything. We don't have to talk about Urban Meyer. I'm just trying to do something stupid, so don't even comment on it. You're gonna waste your own time by trying to get in on this nonsense. I'm getting into it.
Trying to care.
New man coming in to lead, right? Vacuum in the universe of great white male leadership.
Oh my God.
JK, but seriously, looks like Bernie Sanders is gonna run for president in 2020. That's what that's what the rumor mill is churning. He's been doing, you've seen him a little bit more on TV.
As much, right? Didn't he?
I don't think he's like announced, but he's just dropping a lot of appearances, dropping a lot of vids. He's like dropping mad content, right? It's like Kanye before an album release, right? Getting very active on the social media, So a lot of people are surmising that he's going to run again. I kind of just want to know your thoughts on that. Now, if he is elected and he becomes president in 2020, at the time of inauguration, I believe he will be 79 years old. So I guess just the question, let's say Bernie runs. Let's say he gets the nod. Would you vote for Bernie in 2020? Concerns about his age, about his politics? Are you concerned that he already lost a primary, like last year to Clinton? Do you think that means he doesn't have the support?
Sure, but isn't it...
Are you afraid that, do you just like another candidate better?
Isn't it, though, with the way the DNC handled the primaries, it's like, did he lose? I don't know. The same way, did Hillary lose the presidency?
So that's not a concern to you? Really?
No.
Which I guess is fair. People are calling for Beto O'Rourke to run, and he didn't even win his election for a lower office.
Yeah.
So.
Right. It's just, what I find annoying is that, they want Beto O'Rourke. He didn't even win. And they're like, well, now you're president. But then, Hillary Clinton loses, and they're like, get out of here. Bye.
That's different, dude.
Is it?
I think it is. I don't think Beto O'Rourke should run for president, though. But I think it's totally different.
I was reading an article where they said Beto O'Rourke would be great because he's basically Obama, but white. And, not saying, white is better, just, Obama
he's
is great.
Cuban, though, or something, isn't he?
Well... I think
he's
that looks like a white
he's like a
dude.
Justin.
He's a Justin. Ambiguously brown, which is perfect.
Yeah, I'm the new face of America, baby.
You win in all spheres.
Yeah, because it's you want someone white enough where you feel safe.
Oh no.
But dark enough that you don't feel racist. That's an introductory level.
That you can tell your visitors. But no, we're cool. Look at our guy in charge. So, what was I saying? I don't know enough about Beto O'Rourke to say if I like him or not.
I don't really know much about him either.
But what I was gonna say is I really think he does look like Obama, like a white Obama, in that he's like
Maybe.
tall and thin and sort of like.
He's got them big teeth though,
Yeah,
right?
I don't know, but like kind
Or
of
those
like Obama.
he had
just
those
like
big
that
ears, and
yeah,
O'Rourke
like,
has those big teeth.
Yeah, like
he
the
can't
cute
be too handsome.
with like right, like just like the feature. Anyway, I just think it's funny. I would definitely vote for Bernie Sanders for sure. I love what he wants.
I guess I framed it a little silly because clearly,
well, I was gonna tell you who I like.
Trump's gonna be the Republican nominee, like
Sure.
99% chance of that. So obviously, you'd probably vote for anybody in the general.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I guess I should frame it more as like the primary. Even would you vote for Bernie over any? Is there anyone else that's caught your eye or ear? Yeah, okay.
I love Sherrod Brown from Ohio.
I don't know enough about him, but I can't imagine like any Democrat from Ohio besides like fucking maybe a little Denny Coos.
Oh, Denny Kucinich was awesome.
Denny Coos.
Did you vote for him in 2004?
I don't think no, because I was in college, so I was in Columbus.
I know.
So I wasn't in his district. Oh, you mean for president?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think I voted in the primaries in college.
Really?
I voted in that election though. That was like Bush Kerry. I think that was my first election.
Actually, you probably couldn't. Well, no, I couldn't vote in the primary because I hadn't turned 18 until. But I voted for Kerry. But anyway.
Doesn't Ohio have closed primaries anyways? I think that's why I couldn't. I think you had to be registered.
Yeah, they do.
So, yeah, that's probably why.
I love Denny.
Because I voted for Kerry. Oh, man, that was a hold your nose and vote election.
Kerry.
Yeah.
Oh.
Were you old enough then?
Yeah.
Because that was my
that
first.
was my freshman year of college. Yeah, it was my first
Yeah,
time.
it was my junior year.
Yeah.
Of college.
Why didn't you vote? Oh, well, yeah, because president in 4 years.
Yeah, I was like 17 Bush Gore. I was like a senior in high school.
Oh, got it. Okay. Yeah, I like Sherrod Brown. He's a Cleveland boy.
I don't know. I gotta learn more about him,
but what I like about him is I've known Sherrod Brown for a long time because when I went to school in Kent, Ohio, like he was, you heard his name all the time because he's the senator from that area, and he's all about working issues and not economy necessarily, but like his thing has always been like helping working class families, and it's legit. And you know what though, I have to show my like what I do and actually don't know about him. I like him because I really like his wife.
Oh, jeez.
Connie Schultz. Don't say
oh, she didn't even take his last name. Just kidding.
Not even gonna give a little giggle like.
All right, well, I'm listening.
So they know. So Connie Schultz is a journalist, and she was a columnist for the Cleveland Plain Dealer. And I just to give you an example of like how I think they both work, because he wasn't even running. She was a journalist before he became, like was running for senator. But she is famous or beloved by journalists for like she wrote this column about how to tip your waitresses and waiters, and how like she just wrote about how she didn't realize that if you tipped on your credit card, the restaurant got a percentage of the tip. So everyone, hey, just tip with cash, and then it goes straight to the person.
Oh, okay.
That's an example of how Connie Schultz's brain works, and like what she talks about and thinks about and like, promotes. And he is the same way. Do you know what I mean? Like I get that vibe too of just like, what are some basic things we can do to help get around these systems that are in place that we need to overthrow, but like how can we just do it fucking tactically and help everybody? So I like him. He's not as extreme as like, and I don't even want to say extreme because I don't think what Bernie Sanders and Alexandria from New York want are extreme. It's fucking human. But like, I like that he's even like, I don't know if I want to run. I don't know if I'm the person to compete. He just seems very thoughtful about his decision making. And after Trump's like just extreme, he is extreme. Talk about extremism and like just fucking saying whatever comes to his mind. I don't know. I just appreciate that. But really, I would vote for any of them. But yeah. Sherrod Brown is one that I really like, and also not that I think this should lead who we as Democrats should pick in our primary because we see what good that did us last time. But I think that people who voted for Trump with their noses held would vote for, say, a Sherrod Brown. Again, like I said, that's not. I hate that tactic of like, this is how we should pick our primary. Vote for who you want to lead with their ideas, right? But I was talking to my dad, and I don't really know who he voted for. I can make a guess, but like, he was saying how I don't know. Sherrod Brown, a commercial was on, or Sherrod Brown was talking about something, and I was in Ohio. They live in Ohio, so maybe it was on the news or something. And my dad was like, I like Sherrod Brown, and I was like, oh shit, yeah, that's a cool sign, because again, he's just talking about like working class issues and taxes and like and nothing grandiose, nothing that just seems like it's just a political promise. Like it feels like thoughtful leadership.
I went to this. I just Googled it, so it just says ontheissues.org. So it's just basically like it shows like categories, and then it'll just kind of like list like issues they voted on or come out against, just like under it. So I don't know, he looks all right. He's very pro-life in his voting record. Voted against the Patriot Act in 2006. Fan of that.
He's pro-life?
Pro-choice. Did I say
you
life?
You said pro-life, and I was like, what the fuck?
Apologies. That's always possible. That's what always scares me about an Ohio Dem.
Right?
Ohio Dems fucking stink, dude. Except for Denny Couscous. Whatever happened to him? They got rid of it. They got rid of his district, I know, right? And then he had to run in another district, and I think he lost.
Oh, they just found all the ways they could to corner him out.
Poor man. Can I tell you a funny story?
Did you meet Dennis Kucinich?
No, even funnier than that. I got the most
what do you call him? Denny
story.
Couscous?
Denny Couscous. Oh yeah, he's got that hot ass wife, right?
Dennis Kucinich.
Or no, is that who's the
Ladies Like Brains?
Who's that? Who's the governor of Ohio? That fucking monster.
Kasich?
Yeah, he had a hot wife. Maybe he has spouse. He's on his second though. Let me see. Sorry, I don't like these Google episodes, but we've never really done one before. Yeah, Elizabeth Kucinich. Yeah, she's kind of a smoke show. She's like she's like a tall redhead. Redhead. Or I don't know if she's even tall. I just know he's kind of short. But she's decent, dude. She's very solid.
Is that how you determine who you vote for?
Yeah.
Hot wife.
If they can pull
Connie
hot ass.
Schultz is beautiful and smart.
Let's see.
A successful, kind
Elizabeth
woman.
Kucinich versus
do not do that.
Elizabeth Kucinich versus what's her name again?
You're a monster. I would vote
Debbie.
for.
Is it Debbie Schultz?
I would vote for Connie Schultz, actually.
Or Connie Schultz. No, what? Just a newspaper person?
Newspaper. It's called a journalist.
I don't know, dude.
A newspaper person.
She's pretty okay. She's 61.
Justin, stop it.
All right, here's young her. Not even that great.
You're being so offensive right now. Like, not even funny.
I mean, she looks okay. She's okay, but she's no.
I'm gonna just walk off this podcast.
She's no Connie. Or sorry, Elizabeth Kucinich. All right, you're gonna walk off the pod. Don't walk off the pod.
I feel like you do shit just to annoy me, and that
it's like,
but it's so sexist.
That's our whole marriage.
That is not our whole marriage. You would never do that.
But if you know I'm doing it just to annoy you, how do you gotta know that I'm totally not being serious?
Because there are people lying.
Who gives a shit? That's the whole point of this. This is like when you always shush me in restaurants.
Justin gets
shushed. Who cares? We're never gonna see these people again. Who gives a shit? No one.
Even restaurants, you know where I shush you the most is fucking train rides. There'll be people like on top of us, and you're like, well, so then we should just kill them.
No one gives a shit on the train. It's like a man. There's some guy there just like doing his fucking quarters poem, like, oh, if I just have y'all attention for 1 minute, I do not do drugs. I just need a job. I need to put some food. I have a daughter at home. Anything you could spare, like, and I'm there just talking shit. And you're like, shh, dude, people don't give a shit on the train. Like, that's, all right, what is he doing now? In January 2010, he came.
Is he alive?
No, I'm talking about Dennis Kucinich.
I know. Not quarters poem.
Yeah, Dennis Kucinich is alive.
I know, it's kind of just kidding.
Oh, okay. See, you're allowed to kid.
Because I'm not making sexist jokes.
I don't know what he's doing now. Let's say he was on Fox News in 2013. I don't know what he's doing now.
Well, so what? But it doesn't matter. Who do you want? Would you vote for Bernie?
Hold on, I got these. So Sherrod Brown, I don't know. I don't know if I could vote for an Ohio Democrat. They always seem like real wishy-washy. He's got a 0. This is so, normal. It's like the weed group.
Mm-hmm.
Was it National Organization for something, marijuana laws or something?
Regulation.
It's so funny because, all right, so he was rated 0 by Normal in 2006. But then he was rated a D by Normal in 2016. So they switched their rating system from 0 to 10, I'm guessing, to A to F or something.
Well, that's so the marijuana group.
All right, we doing A's to F's now, or yeah, whatever.
Billy just couldn't keep track of 0. We did 100. What's the
Yeah.
tab? Infinity. Infinity.
Yeah. Sherrod Brown, we rate him 1 joint out of 5. Sherrod Brown, we rate him not dank. There's much more dank candidates out there, so Sherrod Brown is kind of it's a real harsh indica of politicians, so take that what you will into the booth. But yeah, they called him hard on drugs in 2016, so I hate the shit out of that. But pro-life or pro-choice, I like a lot. Voting against Patriot Act, I dig.
Yeah, that's cool.
Gross wife, not a fan of.
Justin.
But yeah, so Kusis, I always liked him. He was super cool.
I'm like personally offended that you are making fun of Connie Schultz. I love her. Stop it.
But you wouldn't fuck her. You're doing that thing where you're smiling, but you refuse to make noise, so the audio listeners don't know that I broke through.
I'm not smiling. I'm trying to smile so we can keep doing our podcast.
Yeah, you can pretend that smile's not sad, but I know you're breaking. All right, anyways, so my fucking dad, tell me this isn't the most fucking dad thing ever, / maybe you can like know where I come from, just like genetically. Kucinich was like, I was like back home. I think this was like not long ago. Maybe I was still in college or right after, but I was back home visiting. I was hanging out with my dad. Dennis Kucinich was just on TV for a second. Maybe it was like a commercial, or maybe it was like coming up at 6 on the news, because I was back in Cleveland, so I was visiting my dad. So it wouldn't be weird that he popped up on TV or whatever. And my dad's like, I hate Dennis Kucinich. I hate that guy. Such a sniveling little weasel. So now I think he has political beef with old Couscous. Because why else would you say that about a politician?
Right.
But also my dad, not very politically active. So I'm just like, gotta inquire. Why? Why don't you like Dennis Kucinich? I kind of like Dennis Kucinich. Oh man, I used to pick on Dennis Kucinich all the time when I was a kid.
What? He knew Dennis Kucinich?
He ran the streets with Kus, but apparently he said he was friends with his brother. My dad was friends with Dennis Kucinich's older brother, and he described Dennis Kucinich. He was like a little tag-along man. We always used to pick on him because he would tag along. He'd be so annoying, and he would just always be running his mouth and all this stuff. So I had to beat him up a couple times just because he wouldn't leave us alone.
Oh no!
And he's like, "Yeah, I don't like that guy. He's a little weasel. He's just like a little tag along." I'm like, "He's a 60-year-old man. You're not looking at policies. You're looking at he was annoying when he was 8 and you were 12."
Yeah.
It's just, and that's some dad shit. That's also just some Cleveland.
No, that's not some dad shit. That's some baby boomer Cleveland dad shit.
Well, that's some Cleveland shit. That's some like never left the neighborhood shit. Like my dad lived in the same like 10-mile radius his whole life. And then I guess you could say the same for
poor
Dennis.
Little Dennis.
I guess you could say the same for Dennis. He hasn't left Cleveland either. But he made a name for himself, scored some hot tail. Give it up for old Denny.
Yeah.
Denny Couscous.
You shouldn't beat up people younger than you.
So anyways, that's my dad. And like just said, and that's what's funny is like, lest you think he was fabricating, he was not saying this in a boastful manner. He wasn't like proud of himself. He was just telling a story about growing up, beating up a former fucking congressman. It just is so funny. Isn't that like the funniest fucking thing ever? Because it's just the randomness of it.
No.
You just don't like it because it's bullying and it makes you sad.
It just makes me sad. Poor little Dennis Kucinich. His wife is beautiful though.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Come on. You asked me to rate her against Connie Schultz.
I did not.
You did.
I did not.
Rewind the tape. You said something like that. You proposed it when I was even bringing up that Dennis Kucinich had a hot wife. You said something about
No, I just
Jared.
said Connie was also hot.
Yeah. So see, you put it. I had to compare and contrast, and
You shouldn't have even taken it there. It's like that. Why does that even have to come into conversation? Why? Why does that even? I know you're fucking joking.
yes,
You're
that's
say,
why it has to come into conversation.
It's entertainment.
That's why it's coming into conversation because this isn't a conversation.
It's just a joke.
But that's my point. You act like this is like. You act like at most it's a conversation, or just below that, like people are listening to this to try to make informed decisions.
Dennis
I hope
Kucinich's
that's
wife
not
looks
true.
like young Julianne Moore.
She's
so pretty.
She's smoking.
I think I do remember this being a thing.
Yeah, because he's just kind of just like a short guy, and she's
he's
like
smart.
She's way young. He's way young, or
yeah,
she's
she
way
looks
younger
like
than him
she's
too.
25.
Yeah, she's sexy. He likes redheads too. Don't that
I
make you feel
know.
better?
Yeah, I'm leaving you.
For Dennis
Tell your
Kucinich?
dad I'm gonna go
Oh,
join
my
the
dad would be
Kucinich family.
he would hate you immediately. He would be like, I'd be like, Jackie left me. And at first he'd probably take your side. He'd be like, well, that makes sense.
What'd you fucking do?
What the fuck you do, you monster? And I'd be like, she left me for Dennis Kucinich. She'd be like, fuck that guy and fuck that slut ex-wife of yours, fucking Dennis Kucinich. My dad would never say that. He's so nice.
Well, he wasn't nice when he was young.
I think he was nice. It just he was that like. I mean, he grew up literally in like the public housing of Cleveland, Ohio. You know,
it was a tough neighborhood.
You know, it was just.
Does that mean Dennis Kucinich grew up in the projects?
I don't know, or around there. You know, probably project adjacent. You know,
it's hard.
So it's funny now that's like he grew up near Tremont, which is like the cool hipster neighborhood now. It's funny. It's just funny because it's like one generation.
How fast it turns, yeah.
Because my mom remembers it, you know. I remember like
right.
that's why I remember,
you didn't go over there.
Well, my mom was still in Cleveland, living right before she moved. I was back visiting again, and I was like, I'm gonna go meet a couple friends, and she was like, okay, cool. Where are you guys going? I was like, so I'm meeting some bar over in Tremont, and she was like, it's so crazy because she's like, when I was dating your dad, you know. Which would have been only like 40 years ago, like not long in the history of time, you know, like a few decades, but so 4 years. Cause she's like, when I was dating your father, he would always try to get me, he would hang around Tremont and he would try to get me to come meet him over there. And I'd be like, absolutely not. There's no way I'm going over there to meet you. It's so dangerous. It's such a bad neighborhood. And I was just like, where people hang out.
Yeah.
It was just funny. She's like, your dad would always try to get me over. My dad always hung. That's like near where he grew up. So, which is funny. Anyway, so Jared Brown, you'd maybe primary over Bernie.
No, I mean, it depends. That's what
Let's close out this topic.
Yeah, it depends. I want to hear what they want.
Yeah, but you don't think Jared Brown's going to run, do you? I haven't really heard much about him. I guess there's still a lot of time left, though.
I don't know. I think he'll wait.
What is he doing now? What is his job?
He's a senator.
From Ohio? Okay. All right. Yeah, man, my only concern is, like, very unoriginal. I think he's fucking old. I don't want him to die in office. You know, I don't want him to have health problems, compromising him in office. I don't think that's ageist. I think that's reasonable. I mean, he looks in good health. He moves around good, so maybe he'll be okay. But, you know, I like younger voices, you know? Like, I like older statesmen giving advice. Like, I like that he's, like, the head of the kind of brain of the new left. Like, I like that he's kind of like this political voice that kind of leads the conversation. I like that a lot. But I prefer leadership to be a little more spry and kind of just have that fight. But he kind of has the fight of a young man. I kind of respect it. So I like that he's in there. He's moving the conversation.
He's 28 at heart.
Dude,
man.
we're talking about Medicare for all a lot. And I don't think it's going to happen, obviously, under this administration. Maybe we could get it in the next administration if it does flip blue in the executive. I don't know. But we're talking about Medicare for all a lot more than I've ever seen ever. I mean, even under Obama, when he came in with a mandate, with a blue Congress, and he still could only get through this shitty-ass healthcare system that we have now. Because the idea of Medicare for all, it just wasn't even, I mean, it was whispered maybe, but it wasn't shouted. Now it's being shouted by a lot of people. So, and that's just because his voice is in the mix. So, whether he wins the primary, whether he can win the election after that, I think he could. I don't know. I have concerns, just like probably a lot of people, and probably the same concerns. But I love his voice being in there. So
Yeah, totally.
I love his voice being in there, man. You know, it would even maybe be cool. I don't know. This would never happen. I don't know. We can move on because I was getting. He'd almost be like a good VP. You know, because then he's like in there leading the conversation, but maybe someone younger, more experience. You know, with the not more experience because that would be the opposite of younger. Sorry, just someone younger. You know, could maybe like take the reins of the actual position of presidency. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, like a Cory Booker, fucking what's that other lady?
Cory Booker's a good one.
I think he's dog shit.
Oh, really?
Who's that other lady?
Kamala Harris that you don't
dog
like.
shit. Sherrod Brown
Kennedy,
looks less dog shit, but I don't
Kennedy
trust
guy,
an Ohio Dem.
I hear a lot about.
Dog shit. Beto O'Rourke. Loser. Dog shit. Like, sorry, you got to win something, dude. I mean, even Barack Obama was at least a senator. You know, he won in Illinois. I'm sorry, dude. You know, Beto, you got to try again.
You got to do it again.
You almost did it. Try it again in 2. Was it? Oh, senators are 6 or 4. And then House is 2 years. I don't know. Run for something else. Again, that's what you're young. Put in 10 years.
How old is Beto?
You know, see me in 2030 or whatever. No, that wouldn't be a presidential. 2028. See me then. Do something with the next 8 years. You know, even if he does something in the private sector.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know?
It's gonna be a fucking nightmare.
It is. It's all it's gonna be like Cory Booker versus Donald Trump. It's probably gonna be Hillary Clinton again. She's gonna run again. She's gonna win. You know, fucking criminal. Ugh, it's just awful.
Okay, let's move on. I just don't want.
You don't want to. You don't want to talk Hillary.
Not with you.
I know. I don't want to talk it either. We've talked about it so much on this podcast. Everyone knows all our feelings.
They know your feelings. That's for sure.
Anyway, so I like his voice being in there. You like his voice being in
Hell
there.
Yeah.
But you want to hear other voices, maybe
For
like a Sherrod
Yep.
Brown. Yeah, let's see how it shakes out. I just feel like the voices besides him I'm hearing, and I don't know much about Sherrod, to be fair. That's cool that you brought that in the conversation. But every candidate I've been hearing besides him seems very boilerplate, like, I'm a Democrat, I'm going to say the right things, but also I'm going to take all your money, and I'm also going to start a lot of wars, and also I'm not going to really care about, you know, fucking marijuana legalization or healthcare or all these kind of things that are like definitely big passes, but definitely like what everyone fucking wants, you fucking knobs.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, moving on. Topic 2.
Okay. So this article is from Bloomberg News. Ye old Bloomberg. And the headline is Wall Street Rule for the #MeToo era. Avoid women at all costs. Controversial strategies on Wall Street risk isolating women in finance. And they're taking pointers, as one of the Wall Street guys said, from VP Mike Pence, a Mike Pence strategy. Because remember, Pence said that he avoids dining alone with any woman other than his wife.
Smart.
And so interviews with more than 30 senior executives suggest many are spooked by Me Too and struggling to cope, which is like such a Bloomberg way to write about it. They're struggling to cope with it. Like no irony to that. Like these poor fucking women. But so things like no more dinners with female colleagues, don't sit next to them on flights, book hotel rooms on different floors, avoid one-on-one meetings. And, you know, the women in the industry are like, yeah, like, it's good. Don't be an asshole. And, like, it's great that you're thinking about this, but also you're going to shut us out of, like, where we need you. We need your mentorship. We need your, like, just relationship with us as colleagues to move up in the ranks, right? And to, like, get a job, promotion or a job at all. But I just thought it was a funny slash, I don't know, it just feels so dystopian. It's like, it's not that hard, guys, but
I think it's
someone said, wait, hold on, one of the lawyers they interviewed, he just said, yeah, I don't know, just try not to be an asshole. That's pretty much the bottom line, said Ron Biscardi, Chief Executive Officer of Context Capital Partners. It's really not that hard, quote.
I think it's fair. I think this, I mean, obviously, like, yeah, the kind of the Bloomberg verbiage can seem a little silly, you know, sometimes in this particular article, but I think it's kind of fucking fair, dude. I think that I don't think it's. I think we're at like a tipping point. I think we're at a fork in the road. So I'm not commenting as much as prognosticating, or at least just showing, two possible futures. But it's the idea that I've brought up on this podcast before, which and I think it was related to the Me Too. But you could say it about a lot of things, especially nowadays. And it's the idea of someone was talking about Nelson Mandela, in South Africa, and the idea that, you know, black people in South Africa, like black South Africans, right, oppressed for years violently, and now Nelson Mandela freed. Now he's the leader, and they kind of have. Not anyone has like the right to violence per se, but they have the justified anger to go out and just, oppress white South Africans as kind of vengeance. But, like Nelson Mandela kind of said, like, look, we need to approach our oppressors with kindness now that we have the power, or else, the civil unrest that ensues, that won't benefit anybody. You know what I mean? Like, it's just going to be chaos. So, we could suck it up and just forgive and then just lead in peace, And it's, dude, sucking that up on that level, it's brutal. It's not easy, And I don't think he was saying it was, but he was saying that sometimes the things that are most important are not easy. And so I think it's the same thing with women now. It's like, in these very, it's not obviously, it's not stopped fully. That would be very MRA of me to say. There's definitely very kind of specific sectors and instances and arenas where women have extreme power now. You know what I mean? Like the power of your boss to run if your boss is a 48-year-old man and you're like a 32-year-old woman, his power to rule over you as a boss, I think, is less than your power to ruin his life if you wanted to. Like, you have that power. And that's not saying that women make false accusations, but it's that you do have that power, and that's what they're reacting to, is that possibility. If I piss off this person, not saying I harass
that's what they said. They're most afraid of a false accusation.
Right. And so that's the point, is like, now women, what are you going to do? And I've heard commentary from both sides. So that's why I'm not saying what future we're in, and I think both paths are possible because there's women on all sides saying all things. But is it all right, we want power and we want equality, but when we get it, we will promote peace, even though we've been really fucked over for a long time, because otherwise it's just going to be a battle back and forth. But I think that there's some women, like, you hear that Twitter kind of commentary of like, men are scared now, good, now you know. And as you see, that's what the point is. It's not helping you, because a scared man, he's not running away and just giving you everything, which is kind of like a shitty way to treat people anyways.
Right.
He's saying like, all right, well, I'm not going to even take you out to dinner or mentor you or have a meeting with you with the door closed. All these things that could help you out, I'm just not going to do it.
So don't you think that he needs to be accountable to do his job?
100%.
Which would be mentorship and
100%.
meet with his
100%, but you can't force someone into something that they see as self-preservation. They all have, they need their job.
So when I read this, I thought about when we were watching a few years ago, I don't remember, it's Frontline or something, an episode about police in Chicago, and they were interviewing these white police officers who were not really enforcing anything on the South Side, or, in these neighborhoods where they just were like, they weren't responding to calls as much or something. Basically, they weren't being as forceful as they used to be, or they should be when real things were called, because they were afraid of like doing something that would be considered racist and get fired, right? Or get, like what you're saying. And I remember us talking about it and you saying, no, like, this is their job. You signed up to do it. Like, you don't seem to reflect that sort of mentality toward the
different
Okay.
because there are again, if we're talking
I
about,
made cases for it was different and it wasn't
it's
different in my
100%
head, so I want to
different
hear
because
you
there
talk about
are
it.
some guys, there are some guys that
Mhm.
are like those cops in like the business world, and those guys are assholes. I think it's way less those in the business world than in the police. I think 98% of police are like, well, if I can't just shoot on the back, I can't protect these streets.
Right.
And it's like, well, that's against the law. Well, if you break the law, then fuck you. And it's like, fuck you. And I think that's not, I think maybe, especially in 2018, maybe 2 to 5% of men in business are like those cops, which they say things like, look, man, I just want to grab an ass. It makes the day go by faster. You know, if I can't just grab an ass to pass the time, I can't even do my fucking job. Yes, you're a fucking asshole. All the guys that they interviewed in this Bloomberg report, that's not what they're saying.
Mhm.
They're saying, I want to help. And because they're not even, yes, some of them brought up false accusations, which a lot of women would be quick to say, like, that doesn't really happen and blah, blah, blah. But
But you do get the fear.
but
Yeah.
that's not the only thing they bring up. They bring up just the fact, like, you know, maybe I want to bring you in my office, close the door because, like, I want to share maybe like some kind of personal, not like personal, like my life, but like, you know, I want to have some business style secrets, not like cheating secrets. Just like, you know, I want you to be like a confidant, like a business confidant, which would help you. You know, like, you know, you're kind of like my second in command now. Like, we're kind of like a team that's gonna help you. But I don't want to shut the door. People are talking. Oh, she just went in there. They shut the door. So it's not even about the false accusations. It's just about the climate we live in and rumors. And we live in a time now. A rumor that used to be so this rumor now is getting you fired, getting you sued, all this shit. Like, or at least just causing just chaos in your life. So that's what they're saying. They're saying, like, I don't want to be fucked over when something doesn't happen because of the climate. And that's not what these cops are saying. They're saying, if I can't break the law, I can't do my job. And it's like, well, then you're doing your job shitty.
Mhm.
And there are a few men like that in the business
Yeah.
world, and they are just as much assholes as the cops. I think this article was about, there are things that are helpful and very above board, but you could, whether you're the woman, or again, like he's even saying, fuck the woman. If you're just an outside person, you could take it the wrong way, even by accident. Again, they're not even slamming women like they're these malicious group of women that lie and try to fuck over men. They're just saying, like, we live in a time when I'm trying to do something nice, it gets misconstrued, and now I can't even apologize for the misconstrued thing. I'm fucking out. So now I don't even want to take the chance. I think it's different.
Well, and I think that there is. It just sucks. I mean, listen, anytime you're on the receiving end of this, like, it sucks that, like, as a woman, I've already had to deal with so much sexist shit, and then, like, to keep pushing forward and deal with, like, this, you know, like, it's a process. Progress is a process, and it takes so many, like, of course this is happening. Of course this is a reaction to things, right? So it sucks. But I agree with you and think we should Nelson Mandela the shit out of this. And, like,
That's awesome.
like, I don't know the Wall Street industry, but to me it's like you're saying, women do have just this modicum of power in a way they never have before, where it's like you leverage that, take the higher road, start your own fucking company, just women, fine,
Yeah.
you know, or like men too, but like a woman run
Yeah.
financial firm, like, let's get
100%.
in there and, like, and you know, use that to our advantage of, like, can we get, hey, Bloomberg, yeah, we saw your article, would you like to do a feature piece on this female run financial firm, right? Like, I don't know, just keep pushing and, like, taking the high road.
For
We'll
sure.
get there.
For sure. That's a great way to put it. Because to me, it's like,
also, you shouldn't be having, I don't know if you should be having dinners. There are things where, like, in the article where they're like, yeah, we got rid of, like, liquor at our holiday party and we decided to, like, cut it down so it doesn't go till midnight. Honestly, that's a great fucking idea. And it's funny that HR does it. It's just, it's so huge. Like, you see it pitched as, like, we had to cut our party short. And it's like, yeah, you probably shouldn't have been having that party as, like, a work sanctioned function. Like, I don't think anything's wrong with that. Like,
that's fine.
go out afterward
Agreed.
if you want.
Like, yeah, not everything. Yeah, sometimes it's just progress. It is a good thing. So that's also a small part of it for sure. That not all these changes are bad. I think it's like dealing with every kind of social issue, right? And it's the same thing with, like, women's issues, right? It's like women as a monolith are necessary to, like, get things done, and women are the most unique monolith, I think, in American society because they're the one minority that is actually physically 51% of the population. So I think that's why they're able to kind of like make movements move so quickly, you know, because it's like, even if you get all black people in America on one page, you're talking about what, 12 to 15% of the population. You get all gay people on board, you're talking less than 10% of the, you know, but you could get a lot of women on board as a monolith and you can, you know, make change happen. Like, and we're seeing that with the Me Too movement. But then at the end of the day, we don't operate as a monolith. We operate as individuals. You know what I mean? And I think that's why I think women on an individual level will be fine because I think there are enough. This scares me because I just want the world to be a better place and I don't want to replace one monster with a new monster.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I do feel like there's enough of a voice, even though it really does have a very angry, scary, and just annoying back edge of women just wanting to just, you know, fuck shit up just to fuck it up, you know. But I think there's just like enough smart, strong, interesting women out there who, like you said, for lack of a better adjective, want to Mandela it, you know, or I guess that would be a verb. Want to Mandela, you know, like want to just.
Well, we don't need a man's name on it, but.
It's like a black man, so it's almost a woman, you know what I mean? Like but you know what I mean? Like they want to do it the right way, and I think that's what's interesting. Like, we're in the moment, so in the moment there can be like an extreme moment, but it will calm eventually. And I think everything you just said is kind of what I was thinking leading up to discussing this, which is like it's just gonna within 2, 3, 4 years, you're just gonna breed a new class of woman, and they're gonna be better equipped for this environment.
Definitely, like, and a new class of men. You know?
Yeah, that too, for sure. That's a good way to put it. But I think more so related to this article, like yes, that too, totally for sure. Not dismissing that, but definitely related to this article where they talk about what does this mean for women? Like they're gonna miss out on opportunities and jobs and all this. And mentorships and all this because of the, you know, these new attitudes of men who are scared. But I think that the Me Too movement, what it's doing at its best is it's instilling women with confidence, to be honest and open, because I feel like that's what it seems like. Besides the sexual assault and harassment, there's kind of this underpinning. What the root of
teamwork.
What the root of the issue is transparency, right? It's like we have these things that happen to us and we can't tell people. When we do tell people, we're ignored. You know, it's about this idea of transparency. So I think the ability to like share your stories, besides like the visceral thing of like putting people who probably deserve to be in jail or fired, you know, or whatever. It's more about the idea of just sharing your story and being able to be like, oh, and I think there's just like a confidence in that. I think with confidence comes power, and with vulnerability comes honesty, and those are the things that make society better. So I guess what you know, to wrap it up on that, what I see is just a new class of women, people going into college now, graduating, being in the job market in 4 or 5 years, just going into interviews and saying, look, I'm confident and advanced enough that if you fucking grab my ass, you're gone. I will fucking end your life. But if you want to crack a few jokes, you know, you want to close the door during our meeting, as long as you don't get fresh, I'm not going to say shit. I'm not going to try to ruin your life. I'm just trying to make 6 figures, dude. Like, I'm just trying to get mine. I'm gonna help you get yours. If you don't fuck with me, I won't fuck with you. And if you do, I do have the confidence in 2000, well, I guess probably 22 at that point, to go to HR. But if you're just joking around, if you just made a faux pas.
Well, anyone can say they're just joking around.
But my point is, if you just made a faux pas, if you made a mistake and you apologize, I'm not going to fuck your life over. Because that's the point. It's like, that's the point we've reached, which is a point that we reach a lot of times with minority situations. And it's happening a lot with women right now. I see it happening the most with women right now, which is like we always talk fucking the political spectrum. It's not a spectrum. It's a circle. Or I like to think of it, it's like those old Mario games where you get to the edge of the screen and then you go past it and you come out the other edge of the screen. So it's like the close, once you get all the way to the left, you take one more step and now you're all the way out the far right. And I think that's how it works. And it's this idea that with women, we're like, believe women, support women, believe women, care for women, believe women, give women opportunity. And then you get to a point where you're not supporting women, you're infantilizing women, and now you've swapped all the way down to the right. Like you went so left, you're now right.
I mean, no,
And I think that's kind of, I don't know. I think that's where we're at on a lot of these cases.
I feel like they're kind of infantilizing women if they're not
Who?
even these men, if they're like won't even have meetings with them.
No, that's the opposite. They're scared of them, which is not good either. But my point is we're now saying like, oh, like we can't, like women are so fragile. We can't even like, if we say something, like if something we say is misinterpreted, like they're gonna like complain and cry and get us fired. Like that's like infantilizing their ability to just kind of roll with stuff that we all have to roll with. Like again, like there's for sure women who are harassed offensively, like they're come after by people in their workplace. But then I think there's like there's going to be this new woman that's, look, I can handle shit. Like I can take a joke, or I can take, again, like more less than a joke, like I can take a faux pas, or like I can more, like I can be a woman who's like, hey, when we went out to dinner last night, I felt uncomfortable, and then just have the guy be like, I'm sorry, dude, I was not trying to make you feel uncomfortable. We can bring along, an associate next time, or we can, just talk more at the office and not go out to dinner. And her going like, totally cool, just wanted to bring it up. And like, like I think again, like giving women confidence and allowing them to be honest, and then like you said, and then bringing a man who's willing to like take in that honesty and like kind of like correct his behavior, or at least acknowledge his behavior. Hopefully we'll just have a workforce where men and women communicate, and we won't need reprimands except for the most serious. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Is that like a good wrap up of what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think that will be the most like exciting thing about Me Too is that it did create a sense of communication for women to use their voices, and but with each other too, of like, did that happen to you? Like, what should I say? How do I deal with
For
this?
sure.
Having that openness of like, hey, am I like reading too much into this? Should I say something? And yeah, like building that confidence to but like what sucks about the Wall Street, that sort of environment, again, where it is male dominated, it would be harder to say anything because you're like, well, I don't want to say something, and then I'm targeted as the person to fear, because I'm sensitive to something.
And that's the point. And that's because we're in this like, into the frying pan, into the fire moment of the Me Too movement, which will hopefully dissipate into a more general, calm, way toned down, just positive cultural ideal, which again is like, if you have just a few years of the Me Too movement being like a thing, and you have more women going like, hey, I'm confident enough to address your bullshit now, but I'm also sensible enough and reasonable enough and kind of just aware of my power to go like, hey, as long as you just acknowledge and apologize, like we can be done with it. Like I'm not gonna. Then that's when,
and like teaching each other, right?
And then you'll have people moving towards each other instead of like. Then men won't be scared because then men will talk too. Guys will get together at their fucking guy thing, and they'll be golfing or whatever fucking those fucking guys do, and they'll be fucking like, oh yeah, man, I have this chick and she works in my office, and like I'm just like scared. Like I kind of like, she's really smart, but like, I thought about just like inviting her out, because like, I had a male associate 10 years ago, and we just go get a drink, and I some help. This girl, I did the same thing with this. This is definitely the times we're living in, but when I say times we're living in, I mean like this year and maybe next year. But I hope like the year after that and the year after that, I think it'll like mellow out, and hopefully, like I said, what'll come out of the Me Too movement, what the Me Too movement will be remembered for is like honesty through vulnerability and confidence through transparency, and not remembered for fucking canceling men. And I think that's going to be a positive thing, and I'm rooting for that.
I have two things that I want to wrap up with. One was gay, and it was down to me and this other like guy who was my age, and like he picked the guy, and
was the guy like super hot too?
A super guy, and like the guy knew I was better at this stuff than he was, and I was like, God damn it! I think I just got like reversed. Take a step back, and I mean, like some of this is fucking grow the fuck up, men, and it's hard to not feel like some of these guys are like being passive aggressive with it, maybe. Who knows, right? Case by case.
For sure.
But
They're finance
but I
bros.
think that you should, like, in general, it's good to step back. For example, like, I have to know from and what they have with, and it was a sexist, what I consider a sexist culture that has progressively gotten better. They're coming from that. How can it's easier to let it go? Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's one of those like underlying benefits of having a movement like this too, is I feel heard, I feel seen, I feel like other women are feeling more heard and seen, so it feels like a fair general. So it's feel empathetic towards something that empathy, and I love the idea of like in theaters, and I love I mean we could, but I so no spoilers here if you've seen, friend has a baby, and she has the baby in the movie, and then there's a scene where the baby's just, Adonis is in the trunk, and you see Adonis like being a dad alone with like new, figuring out like the boxing ring. Justin, that was like such a fucking moment in film that you will never see on a top 10 list about Beyond, about Adonis Creed. It's ultimately about such a subtle scene, a sign of our culture changing. That it wasn't just she wasn't in a curve that she wanted and uses music in something that she only I'm like tearing up because I think it's just so beautiful. Like some, you know, her boyfriend that makes her feel whole, do that, and she prioritizes over this newborn, right? Because yeah, the dad can. It's wonderful. I love it, and then like it wasn't even a thing. You probably didn't even catch on to it, like it's because it's just like a scene, you know. And actually, it's like a scene to get then seeing a dad moved by it, to then find himself through being a dad. Like I think all just, and especially this is why the Rocky franchise is decades of right. So we know we can kind of look back and see how the time has changed, where like we can have a sort of relationship depicted like that. Wonderful. I think that that is going to be the result of the Me Too movement, and I can't wait. And I want Tessa Thompson to have her own now. Like, can we do a spin-off where she gets a music career? Like, her story is so interesting. Like, it's cool. It's happening.
Top 10 list of like most best we can do for people is normalization, right? Just letting be. Creed 2 is better than Lady Ghostbusters. You know what I mean? And it doesn't mean like, yeah, it doesn't mean like, you know, women can only have their feminist movie moments in a male-led boxing movie. Like I said, we can still move towards female-led pictures or female-directed pictures, or whatever
Look at
you want to do.
Annihilation.
But it's
yeah.
like any time you beat people over the head about how much you're doing for this or that and this, it always, the is always trash, and the message is always missed, and you give the real animals out in the world a real backboard to push for. Not saying it's deserved, but like you said, like one goes got all that kind of feminist dialogue you just spat implanted in their brain.
Yeah.
Accepted it. It's going to affect the way they live their life, even just incrementally, and they don't know it.
Yeah.
And that's so much better, both artistically because it's a way better movie, and more effective socially because it just happened. We just like I said, it's not like, you know, if I you know, obviously I'm like a huge Rocky fan, so I was listening to a lot of stuff leading up to the release of the movie because I was so excited for it. And of course, you can find clips where Tessa Thompson says like, "Oh yes, we wanted to have, you know, the Bianca character have more of a role. You know, like, you know, she's not just you know, a wife from the 70s. You know, she's going to be more involved. She's going to be more of a character. You know, like you're going to hear that, but it's not, that wasn't the fucking marketing campaign. You know what I mean? Like, that wasn't the reason we made the Creed 2 movie, was to have a Bianca role that was more upfront. You know, that wasn't why. That just was. And like you said, that's the thing. It's the normalization. It's the idea that, like, you know, that it's not, you know, it's that idea. It's the idea that, you know, Rocky, the Rocky franchise, the Italian Stallion, right? The great white boxing hope, right? We don't even have white heavyweight champions in the real world, and we had one in the movie world for 30 years. Like, it was the whitest fantasy in American pop culture. And then you essentially, I mean, I love that joke Chris Rock made at the Golden Globes when, like, Rock, you know, Stallone was up for Best Supporting Actor, and Chris Rock was hosting, and he's like, everybody, this year we had Black Rocky. He's like, I know it's Creed, but it's not Creed, it's Black Rocky. And it's like, it was Black Rocky, and you know who cared? Nobody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it wasn't like an ad campaign of months of, like, whatever it is, James Bond's black now, Superman's black now, check out Black Superman, check out Black this, or Lady this, or Chinese this. It was just, this storyline makes sense, this actor's amazing, it's going to be great. And everyone was like, everyone that, and you know, I love Rocky, but I'm just not one of those guys that takes my entertainment too seriously. So if they're like, we're going to do a prequel and Rocky's black, I'd be like, all right, if it's a fun movie, I'll go see it. I don't give a shit. You know, I don't care about canon, you know, or all that shit. But and I love it just as much as those nerds love Star Wars. I can't care that much. But my point is like, they made Black Rocky pretty much. And why did it work? Because it wasn't Black Rocky. It was just a Rocky movie, and it went to the best people involved, and the director was black, and the writer was black, because I think Ryan Coogler did both.
Yeah.
And, you know, the main stars were black, and we liked it because it was just a good movie. And like I said, like, that did more for progress because it was just right there, but not talked about. We just normalized. Now we can have a Black Rocky. And was it because we had a big campaign to make sure everyone knew there was a Black Rocky? No, because we just did it, because fucking just do the best thing that makes sense. And if it's black, great. Then people get to see that. Awesome. Good for people, good for society, good for black actors, good for everybody. You know, but its normalization works more than just like, the ladies are Ghostbusters now. Deal with it, man. Oh, I wasn't not dealing with it. Well, now you are, and you will. It's like, okay.
I know.
And it's
Well,
just so much
like,
better this way.
I hated that Ghostbusters thing because I'm like, oh, I feel like I have to like it's the ladies, but why didn't the ladies just get their whole new movie? Like, why do we have to like piggyback off of this? Why write a new script where it doesn't have to be ghosts, whatever, but like 4 lead women teaming up to do something?
It was trash, and I don't know if making it less marketed, less trash, you know, it could have been bad. You know, it just happened to be good, I think. But the fact is, I that they're women. I'm annoyed that that's the story, though. And the story from, you know, from Neckbeardy Med, you know, it's the story from women in the department. You know, it's like, it's not the backlash. It's the fun little, you know what I mean? Like, but you know what I mean? Like, so to me, like, you're talking like,
Kristen, Leslie Jones, Scarlett Johansson,
Kate McKinnon, and Melissa McCarthy. Compliment them.
I think Kate McKinnon's so beautiful.
Kate McKinnon and Melissa McCarthy alone. You know what I mean? Market that movie is when people are like, pick this cast. You know, just be like, because 1 and 2, it was the best comic Ghostbusters movie.
Hell yeah.
And that's what we wanted to do with Ghostbusters 3. People in the country right now, you know, funniest comedic actors, they're going to be the stars. Oh, but they're all women. I don't know. I guess they are, but they're all hilarious. You know? And 2 of SNL, the same way 2 of the leads from the original Ghostbusters were on SNL, right? Just doing the formula that worked the first 2 times. Former SNL people, funniest actors of the time.
4 women scientists. You're just like, oh, well, was that a bear? Like, you're so focused on the story. Like, again, like, that's another one that felt so normalized.
All right, let's start and then shut this thing down because we are running. All right. So this story, and they're coming to Chicago. So I guess together, and what's the motherfucker? Adam Lambert, right?
Yeah.
He's gonna front Queen.
Yeah, he can sing
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Lambert fronting Queen, touring around the country, coming to Chicago, maybe a city near you. Topic 3: band or group has lost a member, or maybe two, R.I.P. And you see someone else out in the world that could fill that to launch off into our discussion. Cool. So whether they did it or they did it, whether they did before or just now,
whatever, it's happening again.
Happened or it's happening, but it's a thing.
Okay.
They replaced an RIP member with someone else, and maybe. What is your pick? Pitch.
Okay. So we'll definitely not. No, I do like Adam Lambert's voice is amazing, and he can actually sing. But like, I could never like go see it. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't have any interest, brothers.
Okay.
Because their music is so good. I love the Allman Brothers.
What's an Allman Brothers song now? Because I know it,
like
but I just can't.
Whipping Coast, Melissa, Ramblin' Man.
Yes.
Just. But
I'm
so.
Ramblin' Man.
Yeah. So you can go sing.
Did both?
But so yeah.
Okay.
I guess I don't know too.
Who's the other?
I just know,
who's the alive Allman?
I don't remember his name.
Okay.
And now you're asking too many questions.
Okay.
I'm gonna seem like not a fan. I know Greg with 2 G's died.
Okay.
And he was like the main guy, the songwriter, right? And like,
and did he sing
and
too?
that same year, I think
you didn't pick someone to fill him.
No.
You did the Adam Lambert for the Allman
like
Brothers.
Zach Brown. I don't know. Like, I don't fucking know.
You think like a country guy?
No, more like a rock country. Well, that would be cool. But so basically, his performance, like he's like magical, greatest performer of a generation, right? Greg Allman's talent was the fucking songwriting. That lived like, cool, man. Like,
yeah.
Here's to you. We're gonna jam out while fucking Kid Rock plays your shit. I don't know.
Because if all Kid Rock has to do is just kind of sing.
Well, I mean, Greg Allman also played a lot of instruments.
Well, I'm just saying, but in this situation, I'm not saying he's as talented as Greg Allman. I'm
sure.
saying if in this situation,
and it would be kind of fun to have like just such a like.
If all he has to do is sing, like if all
character.
he's doing is replacing that element, is what I'm saying in the band, in this situation,
yeah.
I think he could probably do that. Especially, like I said, if it's that Allman Brothers kind of folksy rock kind of vibe, that's kind of what he does now.
Oh, I would. Now I just want it to be summer and like so young.
MCA, I think he was 40. What was he? 47.
It's just crazy. I think we're not that far away from 47. Like he was. 18 was for him.
He had like mouth cancer. I think it was like on the back of his tongue. It just seemed like you just heard it. And you're like, oh, I'll probably beat that. It wasn't like lung cancer, pancreatic cancer. You're like, oh, well, he's rich. You just always think like, oh, that doesn't sound bad. He's rich. He'll beat it. And you're like, fuck, shit, that sucks. So, and even now, who I think could replace him? They could go on tour, maybe. I fucking love this album. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but possible because they've worked together with it. Now, Beastie Boys notoriously. Shut up! Let me get my fucking thing. Beastie Boys notoriously. Well, they have 3 members, so you could say this would be a reason why. But notoriously, few features. Not a lot of features coming on their songs, right? But they've had a few in the past. And I think there's one that would work really well with them. The song they did with and this person also recently experienced P that kind of decimated his group, which was a duo. I think Q-Tip of A Tribe Called Quest, R.I.P. Phife Dawg. I saw A Tribe Called Quest
I love Q-Tip.
last summer. And it's kind of a bummer, right? No Phife Dawg. That's Tribe. You know, he's missing his little buddy there. These boys, they got a slot open because MCA's gone. R.I.P. Q-Tip, song on Ill Community called "Get It Together" with the Beastie Boys. Great song.
Mm-hmm.
So they've already collaborated. You know, Q-Tip's missing his buddy. You know, his partner. MCA's gone. Beastie Boys have a slot to fill. Mike D, Ad Rock, and Q-Tip supergroup. And Give us 10 tracks on a new album. Give us a summer tour. Let's happen, man. Oh, I would love to see that.
That would be really fun.
That'd be great.
I'd be into that.
Get it to you and everybody listening. All right, that's our show. We got it together. Topic 3 done. Let's breeze through this outro. I've been Justin Golak, JustinGolak.com. Show dates, all the shit you need. Just go check it out. At Justin Golak on Twitter. You got to tweet at me? Just do it. Justin at JustinGolak.com. Send me those dick pics. And then we got Jackie Manti over here. JackieManti.com. She's got shit up there. Check that shit out. At Jackie_Manti on Twitter. Shoot her those tweets. And give her a follow. She's always tweeting out interesting stuff. And Jackie at JackieManti.com. Send her them tit pics. And then always, for everything else, you go to lowclass.com. That's lo-class.com. And for bonus apps, don't forget to check out the Patreon at patreon.com/loclass. No dash. What do you got to say?
I was going to say Denny Couscous. If you're listening, slide into those DMs.
Oh, gross. All right. He's already got a redhead. He doesn't need to poach mine. That has been a feminist comedian walking to a bar, FemComPod.com. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.